Listen to me very carefully. If you clicked on this video out of sheer curiosity because it's relevant to your life, I want to encourage you today, because what you've got to understand about God is that he's not bound by the standards of the world. He's not bound by what society says is, oh, you got to go to school for this long, and then you got to get married by this time. You got to make this amount of money by this year. And because there's a structure to this in terms of what education you have, with what career you have, whatever the situation is for you, whether it is time in a relationship with somebody, whether it's lost time with a relative, with your son and daughter, whatever it may be that you think you have lost time, you think that it was a waste, you think that because you squandered, maybe it wasn't necessarily your fault, maybe it was the fault of somebody else, and all of that time has been squandered. You had an opportunity to make some money during the holidays, maybe you had an opportunity to get that job when you had the interview process. Whatever the case may be, don't ever think that God cannot make up for lost time, because what you've got to understand about the workings, the plan, the sovereignty of God is that God works on his own time, and it's not bound by anybody else's relevancy to how they did it or what the standards are, what the norms are, because God is going to work it out for your good. And so what you got to understand is that he values your relationship with him. He values the perspective, the lessons learned, the life experiences, the growth, the sanctification, the Christ likeness you must have and achieve. And whatever the plan is that he has for you, it could even be a timing of his own sovereignty. He's allowing you to wait just a little bit longer. He's refraining from you getting into a disaster, situation. He's allowing you so that when it matches with somebody else that is going to enter your life, then that is going to just coincide perfectly for your future together, or whatever it may be. There's never a time for which you think that you've lost it, you've wasted it, because God, he has it under control. All you've got to do is walk in line with the word of God. You've just got to pray, surrender your life and say, Father, take the wheel, take control of the car, take control of the direction. Because when you do that and you lay it all down before him, you lay your burdens, your worries, your sorrows, all of the anxiety, your sleepless nights, your thinking, everything that you've experienced that is weighing you down, burdening you. If you lay it down and you say, Lord, you take it from me. Your yoke is easy, your burden is light, and this is what I want from you, because I trust you. If you do that and you really think this is not lost time, this is not something that's a waste, if you believe it and you surrender it, then God's going to do big things. And in fact, he may accelerate you. He may allow it such that you make up for the lost time and you get back to where you've got to be, or even higher than that. You will reconcile, you will heal, you will allow that person, that family, that ministry, the money that was lost, all of that stuff can be made right back, and you will be further ahead than other people. You're going to have the reward. You're going to have the recognition. You're going to have certain things come into your life, and not for your glory, but for the glory of God. So I want to tell you today, stop boxing God in. Stop thinking that God is a small God, that he can't do something to turn it around for his glory. Because again, he wants to take the credit. He wants to see that, wow, what I did in your life as a testimony, that was all God. That was God doing his work, his miracle, his wonder, his deliverance. All of that is on him. So you've got to realize, you got to get a reality check and look at it from the perspective of what he's doing in your life. You should never have a moment in your life for which you are worried, you're doubting, you're anxious, because the Bible clearly says, do not worry, do not be anxious. And that means in all situations. And again, we're human. It may be tempting for us to do that, but when you get to a state for which, even if you don't like the timing, even if you think you're late, you think you haven't been married or have achieved a certain standard by a certain time, that is not on you. That is not something you should be concerned about. You've got to be on a daily basis walking with the Lord and saying, Lord, this life is dedicated to you. I'm going to live my best life today. And then tomorrow when I wake up, I'm going to live my best life for you that day and continue moving. That's not to say you shouldn't plan. That's not to say that you shouldn't have some kind of vision to achieve a certain goal. Do that. But as God opens doors, he's going to make up the lost time. He's going to allow the abundance to come. He's going to allow certain situations, even if it's a hardship, even if it's going through the fire on something. He's going to allow that to work out for your own good, because he loves you very much. You are a child of God. You are sitting here on this earth, born for a reason, out of millions of other people. You are in your situation right now for a reason. So you've got to understand perspective. You've got to understand what God is trying to do in your life, even though you don't see the full picture, because he has a plan for your life. Don't ever compare yourself to other standards. Don't ever compare yourself to fleshly, satanic perspectives, because God has a plan for your life. So I hope you are encouraged by this. Think, pray, and go to Him for all of these things. Make sure you have the right perspective. Love you guys. Talk to you guys very soon.